Hello, I'm CJ Werlman, and in this week's episode, we outline 5 reasons why Hezbollah will crush and humiliate Israel on the battlefield once again. When Hezbollah defeated the Israeli military in peer-to-peer combat in southern Lebanon nearly 20 years ago today, Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah became a hero of the Arab and Muslim world. It was almost impossible to walk anywhere in the Middle East without seeing pictures or posters adoring his face. Nasrallah and Hezbollah will again become heroes of the Muslim world, or rather the entire world, if they deliver Israel another major military defeat. And there's many reasons to believe they will. In fact, military analysts are extremely confident that Hezbollah will rout the Zionist army, and in a way that will push the state of Israel to the brink of extinction, which is absolutely where it deserves to be. Ready to be swept into the dustbin of history like Nazi Germany, Rhodesia, and other racial supremacist regimes. Lebanon will be Israel's Vietnam. And make no mistake, the Jewish state has already made the foolish decision to invade its northern neighbour. The drumbeat of war is now banging loudly, with Israel proclaiming it's prepared for war against Hezbollah, and with Hezbollah countering, "Bring it, we are ready for you." But we need to be clear here, neither the Lebanese people nor Hezbollah want war with Israel. But should Israel choose to invade their country again, then they are willing and able to destroy their Zionist invaders, like they did during the Second Lebanon War in 2006.
The ensuing war was marked by an onslaught of rockets and missiles from Lebanon. Israel's goal became to destroy the rocket launchers. The price was heavy. 119 Israeli soldiers fell fighting Hezbollah in southern Lebanon, and over 800 Lebanese were killed, including Hezbollah operatives.
Israel was defeated and humiliated by Hezbollah because, as one former senior US commander noted, today's Israeli army is unprepared, sloppy, and demoralized. With an Israeli commander echoing his sentiments at the time by saying that we knew they would kick our ass because the territory is theirs, we would do the same if someone invaded our country. To that end, Hezbollah tactics were reminiscent of those followed by the North Vietnamese army against the US occupation in the 1960s. When NVA commanders told their troops that they needed to ride out the bombs and then fight the Americans in small unit actions. In describing these tactics, a Vietnamese commander told his men, and I quote, "You must grab them by their belt buckles," meaning drag them into close quarters conflict, which is exactly how Israel was defeated by Hezbollah in 2006. And these same tactics will guarantee another Hezbollah victory over the Zionist army today. Because in the same way the Vietnamese hid in tunnels to defeat their American occupiers, Hezbollah has hidden a massive arsenal of missiles and rockets underground, which Israel will never be able to hit with its dominant air power. But more to the point, Hezbollah has far greater firepower today than it did 2 decades ago.
13 years later, Hezbollah has rebuilt its rocket launchers and expanded its weapons arsenal to an estimated 100,000 missiles. The weapons themselves have also improved.
We're not only talking about more missiles, but better missiles, with Iran providing Hezbollah with new technologies and a broader arsenal of anti-tank, anti-air, and anti-ship weaponry. Israel will be hit like never before. And then there's the question of manpower. Hezbollah deployed fewer than 1,000 troops when it defeated Israel in 2006, with most coming from their elite combat units. Today, however, Hezbollah is ranked the most powerful non-state military force in the world, with upwards of 100,000 men under arms. But even more concerning for Israel is Hezbollah is far more battle-hardened today than it was in 2006. Remembering that Hezbollah units have been rotated in and out of Syria against an array of anti-Assad forces for the past dozen years. Whereas on the flip side, Israeli forces have spent the past dozen years shooting children and murdering babies in the occupied Palestinian territories. And that right there is the big difference. Israeli soldiers have killed nearly 20,000 defenseless children during the past 8 months, but will now be up against a foe that is armed to the teeth and hardened by years of fighting against a noble and determined enemy on foreign soil, and now willing to die to defend Lebanon on its home turf. Good luck with that, Israeli diaper army, because you're going to need it.
Lebanese, we have a history with them. We fight them for 20 years. We fight them inside Beirut, and we get killed for 20 years, and we get bombed for 20 years. But we hit them for 20 years until they say, okay, there is no solution with those guys. They're always gonna hit us. We kill one, we have 50 others. This is why they retreat. So we begin by fighting them in Beirut. Until now, we are fighting them inside their lands. So if we want to read history now, who is winning? This is us. This is Lebanon. This is why we are going to win this war.
As for Israel's highly vaunted air defense systems, well, knocking down homemade Hamas rockets is one thing, but dealing with Hezbollah's high-tech weaponry and know-how is another thing altogether. Through years of diligent training, Hezbollah rocket teams have learned how to deploy, fire and safely cover their mobile launchers in less than 60 seconds, a firing rate that will overwhelm Israel's air defenses, including its overhyped Iron Dome system. Last week, for instance, a Hezbollah rocket took out an Iron Dome missile launch pad, making this the first time ever that Israel's air defense system has been hit. Israel responded by carrying out a number of air raids inside Lebanon's border the following evening, with Israel's national security minister saying it's time for Lebanon to burn. But this is the kind of genocidal rhetoric we have come to expect from Israel, and especially from Ben Gvir, remembering this is the guy who keeps a poster of Baruch Goldstein on his office wall. You remember the Jewish American terrorist from New York who moved to the occupied West Bank and then slaughtered 29 Palestinian worshippers at the Ibrahim Mosque in Hebron in 1994. This is the kind of sickness that permeates through every level of Israeli society. But it's important to temper Israel's bombastic bluster towards Lebanon by recognizing that the Zionist regime's closest ally, the United States, has warned the Netanyahu government against invading Lebanon, saying Israeli forces have again overestimated its military power and underestimated Hezbollah's fighting strength. Even Israeli newspapers are sounding this alarm, saying Hezbollah is far stronger today and that a war against Lebanon will result in catastrophic devastation to Israel's critical infrastructure and economy, all of which will come atop of growing diplomatic and economic isolation stemming from its genocide in Gaza. Now, none of this is much comfort for the people of Lebanon, however, who have already suffered so much as a result of their government's economic and political mismanagement, culminating in the devastating blast at the port of Beirut 4 years ago. Our concerns for the welfare of ordinary Lebanese civilians should be at its highest point right now, given Israel's deliberately and gleefully murdered 40,000 innocent people in Gaza, and given Israel has carried out dozens of massacres in Lebanon in the past, including the Sabra and Shatila refugee camp massacres of 1982, which left 3,500 Palestinian refugees dead. We are talking about a psycho regime that cares nothing about non-Jewish human life, which means every media outlet has a moral responsibility to report every step of Israel's advance into Lebanese territory. We promise to report every Zionist crime here, along with the eventual downfall of the Zionist state. It's now safe to say that Israel's days are now numbered in years, not decades.